man driving home accidentally hits a woman. Worried, he quickly gets out of the car to check on her injuries. When the man finally sees her clearly, Tom is so frightened that he shudders. The woman is not only unhurt but actually tries to grab Tom's leg and bite him. Terrified, Tom tries to get back into his car, but another passerby suddenly charges at him. Tom realizes something is wrong and speeds off in a hurry, with several walkers still in hot pursuit of his car. The streets are filled with people being attacked and bitten. Tom isn't sure what happened. He returns home, but just as he opens the door, a walker comes at him. This walker is Tom's roommate, and he didn't realize that he had turned into this monster as well. Fortunately, Tom has always been disciplined. During the struggle, he throws the zombie aside and grabs a nearby iron rod to strike it down. Afterward, Tom hurriedly packs up his things, preparing to leave. He tries to call his family, but no one answers, no matter how many times he dials. This makes Tom realize something is seriously wrong. It seems that similar attacks are happening in other cities as well. There are more and more zombies on the streets, and after careful observation, Tom notices that anyone bitten by these people will turn into one of them within 5 minutes. It appears to be some sort of virus, similar to rabies, spreading rapidly. However, Tom underestimates the virus. In just one day, the once bustling city has become a ghost town. Tom is lucky to have escaped to an abandoned military base. The place is surrounded by barbed wire, and there is a watchtower that stands several stories tall. This base is a solid fortress in this apocalypse. As long as there are enough supplies, he can survive here for quite some time. Through Tom's continuous searches, he finds a generator and a satellite phone. As regular phones have no signal, Tom tries to use the satellite phone to contact the outside world, but after making thousands of calls, no one answers. The sound of the generator still attracts the attention of the walkers. A large number of zombies gathered towards the fence, and for the safety of the base fence, Tom had to venture out every day to clean up these zombies, and then burn the corpses at night, because at night the walkers are obviously not as active. Tom lives in the base for half a month, but by now, his supplies are nearly exhausted. He decides to take a risk and go out to search for more supplies. As night falls, Tom sneaks into a house to look for food, but as soon as he opens the door, a figure suddenly appears in front of him. Thinking it's a walker, Tom fires a shot, but reacts only to realize that the other person is human like himself. The gunshots have attracted the attention of nearby walkers, and although Tom uses his gun to block a wave of walkers, the area is no longer safe. He decides to take these 3 people back to his military base. Luckily, the bullet didn't hit Bill in any vital area, and after Tom's continuous apologies, Bill and his daughter don't hold it against him. After all, if Tom hadn't fired, they might have mistaken him for a walker too. The next day, Lisa's husband, Martin, notices Tom's satellite phone. He mentions that a friend of his has a similar phone, along with a satellite phone book. In hopes of finding more survivors, the two decide to search for the phone book. Lisa stays behind at the base to care for the injured Bill. Soon, Tom and Martin drive to their destination. After a thorough search, they successfully find the phone book, but on their way back to the base, they see a walker attacking a survivor on the roadside. Without hesitation, Tom pulls the trigger, and Martin seizes the moment to drag the woman into the car. They take the woman back to the base, having witnessed her family being bitten by zombies. The woman is still in shock and has not yet recovered. After handing her over to Lisa for care, Tom starts dialing numbers from the phone book. This time, he finally gets a response, and the person on the other end is thrilled to learn there are other survivors. Just as Tom starts to give the location of the military base, the call gets cut off due to a poor signal. Tom notices that Bill's wound seems to be infected, and he urgently needs medication to prevent infection. So, Tom and Martin head back into the city. Luckily, it didn't take long to find a pharmacy and pick up the anti-inflammatory without any problems. On their way back, Tom takes a detour to the local police station. He wants to find some weapons, but after searching for a long time, he only manages to find a handgun on a corpse. As they are about to leave, they accidentally discover a prisoner locked up in the station. Apparently, the man has been trapped here since the virus outbreak.
And what did you eat?
Toilet paper.
Seeing that the man has survived on toilet paper for 16 days, Tom doesn't bother asking what crime he committed. He brings the man to the car and takes him back to the military base. Bill's spirits were also noticeably better after taking anti-inflammatory medication. That night, Tom records recent events on a camcorder. Suddenly, he hears a noise outside. He cautiously goes downstairs, only to find Bill secretly talking to someone on the phone. Seeing that things are falling apart, Bill doesn't hide it anymore, and it turns out that he's been working for the NSA before. The person on the other end of the line is his partner, Frank. This virus was actually developed in their research lab. Originally, it was meant to alter the DNA of crops, but the virus mutated, turning humans into zombies instead. Bill doesn't want his daughter, Lisa, to know about this, so he asks Tom to keep it a secret. Although Tom agrees, he doesn't realize that their conversation has already been overheard by Lisa from the next room. The next day, while Tom is on patrol, his phone rings. It's Max, the person he spoke to before. He and his brother have arrived at the base. However, a horde of walkers is right behind them. Fortunately, with Tom and the others working together, the brothers successfully enter the base. The gate didn't last long before the walkers pushed it down.
Torch them!
And with the influx of walkers, the scene was instantly chaotic. The group fights while retreating, and although they managed to kill the walkers, Martin is bitten. The crowd knew the consequences of being bitten and had to step back to give the two men time to say their goodbyes. After the last few granted Martin mercy, they buried him inside the base. Martin's death is too much for Lisa to take, and she takes it out directly on her father. If it weren't for their experiments, this terrible virus wouldn't exist. Knowing that his daughter is aware of his identity, Bill remains silent. With their supplies running low again, Tom and the group have no choice but to go out in search of more food. They have a good haul at a supermarket, but as the four are about to leave, they see a woman standing alone in the middle of the road. Tom thinks she might be a survivor and cautiously approaches her, but just then, the woman lifts her head, revealing that she is a walker with no eyes. The noise attracts nearby walkers, and Tom hastily fires a few shots before fleeing. Back at the base, Tom tells Max about what happened. He thinks the walkers may have evolved as well, but Max doesn't take Tom's words to heart. After all, he had just gotten his hands on a large cache of weapons from the police station. As a retired Special Forces soldier, he felt confident that these weapons would be enough to handle the walkers. As night fell, the group was outside grilling and drinking, completely unaware that danger was quietly approaching. The walkers had already climbed over the fence. By the time they heard the noise and turned to check, the walkers had already leaped into the yard. Although Tom fired at the walkers, its agility and erratic movements caused all of Tom's shots to miss. After this incident, everyone felt that the base was no longer safe. The walkers had evolved beyond their imagination. Bill wanted to lead the group to a familiar place, but Max didn't want to give up the base. He wanted to clear out all the walkers in the area, but since they were unsure of the number of walkers, Tom decided to go out alone to scout the situation. Unexpectedly, as soon as Tom reached the woods, he was spotted by a group of walkers. Tom quickly used his phone to alert Max and the others to retreat, while Lisa rushed to help Tom. Although they managed to shut the iron gate in time, it couldn't keep out these evolved walkers. The walkers breached the base, and Max, along with a prisoner, tried to stop their advance from inside a bunker. At first, the two of them could handle the horde, but when Max saw his brother in danger, he immediately left the bunker to save him. This move put the prisoner in a dire situation, and soon he was overwhelmed by the walkers. When Max returned to the bunker, he found that the prisoner had already been bitten by the walkers. Realizing the prisoner was lost, Tom and the others had no choice but to leave him behind and drive away. On the road, Bill received a call from Frank. Frank wanted the group to help extract someone. This person was a virologist who might be able to develop a vaccine for the virus. Following Frank's directions, Tom reached a bunker, but when Bill tried to get the person inside to open the gate, they were met with a firm refusal. The person inside didn't care who they were, whether they were infected or not, and had no intention of letting them in. The reason was that, besides the zombie virus, there was also pervasive nuclear radiation outside. There are nuclear power plants out there that have been unmaintained for a long time, and when the reactors stop cooling, the plants explode. Europe alone had more than 200 nuclear power plants, meaning they could have been exposed to radiation without even knowing it. With no other option, the group set out to find a new shelter. Along the way, they encountered the virologist. He shared a crucial piece of information. Some humans are actually immune to the virus. If one person in a family is immune, it's likely that the entire family won't get infected. It turned out that everyone present was immune to the virus spread through the air. However, being bitten by a walker would still result in infection. Upon hearing this, Tom thought of his sister. If he had an immune system, it was possible that his sister might still be alive. So, At dawn, Tom planned to go search for his sister. Max, worried about Tom, decided to accompany him, while the others went to a nearby castle to wait for them. After parting ways with the others, Tom and Max quickly drove to his sister's house. As Tom was staring at a family photo, a Walkers suddenly rushed at him from behind. This Walkers was none other than Tom's sister, who hadn't escaped the infection. Tom ended up sending his sister away in tears. While Tom was still immersed in sorrow, Max suddenly emerged from the house carrying a baby. It seemed that the baby was his sister's child. And despite everything, the baby had somehow not been infected by the Walkers. As they were preparing to leave, a mutated Walker suddenly appeared. Max was knocked down by a powerful punch from the Walkers, who was not only incredibly strong but also impervious to bullets. Knowing they couldn't fight the Walkers head-on, Tom shattered a nearby car window and lured the zombie into the car. He quickly locked the car doors and opened the gas tank. Afterward, Tom reunited with Lisa and the others. They thought the castle would be a perfect refuge, but they underestimated the Walkers. At night, while Tom was on watch, he heard something. He quickly turned on the car lights and saw a horde of Walkers right in front of them. Tom and the others fought desperately, but the sheer number of Walkers was overwhelming, and they soon breached the castle. One by one, the survivors were killed by the Walkers. The virus expert and Max are killed in quick succession, and Lisa and the others are backed into a corner. Just when they were about to lose hope, the baby in their arms suddenly started crying. To their surprise, the loud crying caused the surrounding Walkers to back away, as if they were afraid of something. Could it be that they were afraid of the baby? Regardless, Tom and the others managed to survive. As for what secrets the baby had, it seemed that they could only be revealed slowly later.